welcome back to the Mindful and Aware podcast. Today I have another special guest, Amanda Nicole, who is the host of her own podcast called Chaos Makes Magic, which is so cool. And Amanda Nicole works to help women embrace the divine feminine and create a reality that they desire and that they love to live in. So, welcome to the podcast, Amanda Nicole.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. I'm excited to chat about all things divine feminine. It's a big topic right now.
Yes, it really is. And there's so many like myths about it and misconceptions about it too. Cause as soon as people hear like divine feminine or feminine energy, there is such a specific like girly aspect to it and such a specific like, oh, like do your nails, take a bath. Like it's so girly. It's like you don't work, you don't do anything, you just like sit back, relax, like whatever, like get pampered. And it's like there's so much more to feminine energy than what is immediately thought of when hearing like the word feminine energy. So like what's your best like little description of feminine energy that you just like what does feminine energy like look like to you essentially? Cuz that's another thing is it's different for everybody I feel too and like your phase of life like there are so many factors, you know?
There are, yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, I would say one, it is multidimensional. Like you're saying, it is different for everybody. It's different during different stages of our life. It's different during different phases of our cycle. Like we are very multidimensional beings. And feminine energy essentially is that like water that can't be contained. It can be calm and serene, or it could be chaotic like a hurricane. Like it truly is so multidimensional and multifaceted.
Yeah, I love how you use the word water. I feel like that's like such a good phrase for it because when I think of feminine energy, I'm thinking of like going with the flow, pausing, and when I think going with the flow of life specifically, and I think of water. And maybe it's because
Mm.
I'm like a water side, but I feel like water is such a it's such a meaningful, like, analogy for me because it's such a nice way to think, especially I had somebody and if he listens to this right now, he'll know that he told me this, but I had somebody tell me one time, like, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about or I was talking about, like, negative thoughts and how, like, thoughts will just come by in your brain, but you don't have to believe every single one that comes in, and he made a connection. He said he always thought about thoughts as waves and it's like not every wave that comes by has to stay. Like the waves like come and go. And it's just choosing like
Mhm.
which wave you kind of want to ride and things like that. And I'm like that's basically what he said. And I thought about that and I was like that's such I love that so much and I love using waves as like a way to see like okay flowing with life, seeing where life takes you, like taking this opportunity, taking this wave, seeing where that takes you and going with that. So I love that you describe feminine energy as just like water and that flow. And I
Mhm.
also see it as just like allowing yourself to pause and notice things. I think being observative. Wait, how am I? I totally
Observative. I don't know
observative?
the word.
Is that the word? Like,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know why I like can't English right now. What would be that? That's hilarious. And just observe. It would just be observe. And just pause and observe like life and what's going on and that helps you
Mhm.
have that clarity cuz when we compare it to the masculine energy which is more like work 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 hustle 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 like really being like motivated disciplined. I don't know if I want to use the word discipline because I feel like allowing yourself to
Yeah.
feel feminine energy and be in that feminine state of mind is like discipline in itself. You know what I mean? Because you're allowing yourself to rest. So maybe not discipline. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I like the word devotion in place of discipline.
Oh, that's
Um,
good. I like that. Mhm.
yeah, it just feels much more like less strict and more embodied.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love that you pointed out the masculine energy too, because I think that when it comes to feminine energy and feminine embodiment, like, we sometimes swing too far into our feminine and we get stuck
Yeah.
there and we don't have that masculine containment to hold us, and so a part of the feminine path and, like, tapping into your feminine energy is also tapping into your masculine energy and building that, like, foundation to hold your feminine, like, that is what the masculine does, whether it's both within you or even, like, seeing that in partnerships as well, but, yeah, definitely important to note that and just, like, knowing that you do need both in order to really come into wholeness.
I agree. It's that balance. And like depending on which phase of life that you're going through or just what's going on in your life, like physically and emotionally, like internally, how you're feeling, that like kind of listening to that intuition of thinking like, okay, what do I need right now? Like like waking up and asking yourself, what can I give today? Like what does my 100% look like today? What am I like capable of today? It's not about, like, what am I capable, meaning, like, I'm lazy and don't wanna do this. It's more than that. It's like, okay, if I'm emotionally, like, really going through a lot right now, I don't wanna push myself so physically, so, like, emotionally in another area, because like, inside, I'm already hurting, I'm already feeling pain and feeling these emotions that I have to feel, and all this other stuff is just going to, like, is it going to help me feel those emotions, or is it just gonna add to the turmoil already happening inside of me, you know? And so it's waking up and just noticing like, okay, like where's my energy kind of leaning towards more today? And how can I like bring like what would be the word? Like how can I not comfort that or like adhere to that? Like how can I adhere to that? How can I embrace that today depending on what's going on in life? And it's like cuz like right now in my life I'm I feel like I'm trying so hard to be in a masculine energy because I think that's what I need right now, but I think I actually do inside is telling me that I need to relax some more. Like things are already put into place, and so it's like I need to take that step back and let those like stones kind of trickle. Like let what already was put into place happen. And so that's where we go with like going with the flow. And that's where it's like that balance of finding that like okay, I've done these steps already, there's nothing more I can do now. Let me let go of this like feeling that I need to control or this feeling that I have control over the situation when I already did what I had control over. And now it's about like embracing that feminine energy and just relaxing, pausing, observing, like seeing what's going on and giving myself that rest. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. As you were saying all of that, like, at the end too, I was thinking about surrender, and that's a really big
Yes.
concept, like,
Hmm.
in the feminine energy space, and I even think there's a lot of, like, misconception around that too, because sometimes we see it as, like, surrender of don't do anything, like, just sit back, relax, it's all gonna come to you, and, like, yes, things will come to you, but you
Hmm.
also have to work for it, like you're saying,
Yeah.
and just being in those busy seasons of life. Like, I'm in a very, very busy season right now, which I'm so grateful for. I'm like, I've been wanting to be in this season of life, but I'm also having to find that balance and give myself the space to feel all of those emotions that are coming up. And I mean, even the other night with the full moon this week, it was crazy. Like, I was just
Girl,
so
tell me about
angry. I was so frustrated. Like, it was a wild, wild energy, and, I mean, even moments like that well, how do I wanna say this? I guess, like, it's easy to sit back and surrender when you are feeling good and flowy and, like, when you are just wanting to relax and whatnot, but when it's those heavier emotions, when it's that anger and that rage and that frustration and all of those things building up in us, that's hard to slow down and sit with that. But like that is being in your feminine, is doing that and sitting with those and expressing those emotions. So, yeah, I mean, again, I feel like there's so much out there around feminine energy of like just sit back, relax, like enjoy and receive and like yes, there is that, but there's also like the darker aspect of it and like really allowing yourself to feel.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like it can be like what our like body and our what our intuition is telling us what it may need may be uncomfortable because things that are different, things that are unfamiliar that we're not used to doing it's uncomfortable. And it's like I didn't grow up being told like, "Oh, your emotions like like stay in your body. Like your emotions are like energy in the body. So if you don't release those emotions, like you're gonna feel it physically and you're gonna feel physically drained." Like I didn't grow up knowing like that my emotional health was also gonna affect my physical health, like that mind body connection. And so that was like unfamiliar for me to be feeling anxiety when I'm sad. And now I'm like driving, like, why am I so anxious? And I'm like getting mad at myself because, like, what the hell? Like, why am I feeling like, why is my body feeling like this? Like, I'm physically healthy. Like, why am I doing this? And it's adding that curiosity to like, okay, like why am I feeling like this? What do I need? Like what where am I at right now? What can I give myself to help? And that can sometimes be uncomfortable because you're not used to it. Cause like unfamiliarness is uncomfortable. You don't know anything. And that's like it's like scary. It can be frustrating, annoying, but it's just like you said, like really allowing yourself and diving into that. Cause overall, like think about, okay, but this is what I need right now. It may not be what I'm used to. It may not feel like the right thing because I'm not used to it, but I know that I need this within me, so I'm going to give it to myself. And that is so powerful to tell yourself like, "You know what? I know I need this, so I'm going to give it to myself." And that is like
Mhm.
and that would be like rest or allowing yourself to just pause, allowing yourself to just like let go of these like what if situations in your head. Let like detach from this person, this situation, this career that is just no longer serving you anymore. Allowing yourself to finally like break that tie and let go. And that's oh my god, there's so much power to that.
There is, yeah. Yeah, the discomfort aspect is huge too, and, like, I think that that's worth noting that feminine energy requires discomfort. It is the creation and the destruction. It requires us to completely crumble and destruct what isn't serving us. And like you were saying, even like jobs or different situations, whatever it is, like it is really listening to that and listening to your body, even like relationships as well that aren't serving you. Um, and I mean, we're seeing it in the world right now. There's a lot happening in the world right now, a lot. And it's very heartbreaking. And this is the feminine rising. This is the feminine essentially going in and clearing everything out that needs to go, and that is the medicine of feminine energy, is to go and pinpoint those things and find those things that need to go, that need to be released, and it's not comfortable. Like, it's a lot, and that is the side of the feminine that really gets missed a lot, and that's also why, like, the feminine and feminine energy has been suppressed and, like, molded into something that is palatable for our current system and our current society. Because, again, like you mentioned at the beginning, we see feminine energy as, like, sitting back, relaxing, maybe not working, like, being nice and pretty and palatable and just, like, that super, like, small, soft feminine. And that's not the feminine, like, at all, and our current system and our society has feared the feminine and, like, the expansiveness and the destruction of the feminine, that they've caged it in and made it this, like, soft little palatable thing, um, and so, yeah, it's not comfortable necessarily to always be in your feminine and to acknowledge your feminine energy and to embody it, but if you want transformation, like, that's where you have to go.
Yeah, and what you were saying, it made me think like of another little myth is the fact that like when people think like, oh, sitting in my like I'm in my feminine era, like my feminine energy, like really feeling it, it's like automatically you think of this aesthetic, this like beautiful, like you were saying, like this pretty girl, like getting pampered, like nails done, like in the bath with her wine. And you think like this perfect aesthetic of like the feminine. And it's not so like perfect and aesthetically like pleasing as that. A lot of times it is messy because we're feeling these emotions because we're allowing ourselves to finally pause from all this go go go, all this devotion like you were saying earlier about like in the masculine energy, allowing yourself to finally pause and just look inward and allow yourself to release. And releasing emotions isn't always relieving in the moment. It can be relieving afterwards, but in that moment, it's going to be sad. It's going to be angry. It's going to be like frustrating. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be so heartbreaking and painful. But it's all of those things because that's what you need to feel to release. And then that relief, that weight being lifted, that feeling of weight being lifted off your chest, of clarity, of like freedom is going to come after you've allowed yourself to finally just feel in that moment and just finally take your foot off the gas and just pause. And yeah, it can be messy. It can be like imperfect. And imperfect is so perfect. Like I love that. I like there's no I don't like the word perfect. I just everybody is perfect in their own way and everything is perfect in its own way. That's nature. You know? Like some like a dead tree, I'll take a picture of it 'cause it looks beautiful on the sunset, you know what I mean? But it's dead. But it's like it's technically not perfect, but it's perfect in my eyes because it looks beautiful among all the other trees on the sunset, you know what I mean? Like, it's just finding that changing that perspective of it's not this aesthetic, like, setup. That's not like this perfect little nighttime routine. It's this allowing for messiness, allowing for like this imperfection and embracing that because that's uniqueness and that is power and embracing your uniqueness, what that looks like, and just things like that. Like literally last night, I was feeling very like emotional. Like you said, this full moon was wild. And I honestly think like that was peeking into yesterday's mood. And so my emotions yesterday were like sporadic. And last night I tried something new that I tried once before. It was like this embodied movement. And it was like I was going along with this YouTube video. It was like 15 minutes long of all this like embodied movement of like stomping into the ground and letting yourself just flow. And it was so nice. It was so grounding. It was so empowering. And I felt so just like in that moment and just releasing and really focusing on like releasing out that energy and imagining, visualizing this energy just being released like through my feet into the ground and then feeling the ground stable beneath me. There's so much self awareness in stepping into your feminine energy, so much observation and feeling, like truly feeling one with yourself. And that's so powerful and magical and transformational.
Mhm. Mm. There's so much goodness there that I have so much to say.
Go
I
for
love
it.
all of it, but I love that you brought up the dead tree and, like, how you find the beauty in that because that's the thing. I was kinda thinking about it, like, the fact that we as humans, we are so in our masculine and we really, like, value that masculine behavior. We're the only species that, like, moves at the same rate 365 days a year. Like, we don't honor the seasons like we should be, and honoring our bodies in the seasons like we should be. And we try to override like wintertime when things are dead, when the trees are dead. We try to override that and like continue going because that's what we value. And we put so much of our worth in that. And then when we're in those seasons where we are dead and dying and like releasing and letting go, and when we don't feel so like pretty or good or confident, like we get really hard on ourselves. And so a lot of the work that I do and have been leaning into, especially over the last few months, has been around that and around imperfection and around like really just accepting yourself as you are in every single moment and knowing, again, like you said at the beginning, we're riding those waves. Like you are going to ebb and flow, but you are just as worthy of everything that you desire, whether you are moving quickly and going and hustling and producing and creating, or if you are in a cycle or season where you are having to let go or you are having to release and like let yourself feel that heaviness. So, yeah, it's really important to recognize that there's beauty in every season and cycle of life, and like one is not better than the other, but our society has us so deeply conditioned to think that one is better than the other, and so we
Mhm.
we hold on to that, we internalize that. So that's really important to work with.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the changing with the seasons, because I remember when we talked before, you had brought that up, and I absolutely loved the idea of, like, thinking about changing with the seasons and how, like, moving with nature, going with that flow of nature, and it also, like, brought to my mind just right now, I feel like it's important to also kind of note, like, people's and you can, like, tell me your thoughts on this, but I was thinking, like, people's seasons of, like, when they're feeling most motivated, like, how do I word this? Okay, so, like, seasons of so we see, like, the seasons of the weather being, like, winter, summer, spring, fall, and whatnot. Some are darker and some are lighter, like, winter, darker seasons, summer is, like, lighter seasons, like, I wonder if, like, some people they'll have their most, like, relaxed state of mind, their most comfortable state of mind, their most like one state of mind in those darker seasons versus others who are having theirs in the lighter seasons. And so I think it's important to note too, like everybody can be kind of different and everybody be kind of unique. And the reason I wanted to note this or why I thought about this was because I was thinking about social media. Because I was thinking when I'm in my phases of like, I need to kind of relax for a moment. Like right now, I'm in a phase where I know intuitively I need to like take my foot off the gas. I need to pause for a moment. Going on social media doesn't help me because now I'm seeing all these other people creating. I'm seeing all these other people like doing all these things with their life all in their like hustle, hustle, hustle like mode. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing that and I'm thinking I also have to be there. But just because it's their season for that or their phase for that, it doesn't mean that it's my phase for that, my season for that. Because I was also thinking about like external validation. Because when it comes to social media, you kind of like think like I need that external validation. I need to be like them. I need to like they're doing that, so I need to be like that, whatever. And then you see people like close family, friends, like, well, they're doing this right now. I need them to see me, like, see that I'm working just as hard. But it's like, take away all of the people around you, what would you be doing? You know what I mean? If we remove, like, everybody from your line of sight, what would you be doing? What would you feel in yourself is the best thing to do right now if you took away all external validation, all of the wondering of what people would think of you doing this? Like, what would you be doing? And I think that's such an important thing to do sometimes. And so it's like social media can really have that impact on us of like making us think that because this person's in this season, we need to also be in that season, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that is a really big thing with feminine energy as well, of, like, not relying on external validation and, like, being fully sourced within yourself to find that validation, to find that safety, that confidence, that love, whatever it is that, like, you are seeking outside of you, like, the feminine sources and finds that within herself. And, yeah, I mean, we all go through different seasons, and I think, like, even connecting with the earth seasons, and I'm very much so attuned to that, and a lot of the women that I work with are in the sense that in the fall and winter, we tend to descend. That is, like, when we're essentially descending into our own underworld, and that's a time of, like, slowing down. That's a time of self-exploration, of really digging up what needs to go, allowing it to release and die, so then come springtime, which we're approaching so soon, that is then when you're like ready to step forward and emerge and start to create. And I mean, even you mentioning that you feel like you're in this slow season right now of needing to kind of take your foot off the gas, it makes sense. I mean, we still haven't like hit the spring equinox that happens in 3-ish weeks, March 21st. And even that, like we're still building to summertime. And so it really is just this like gradual thing, this like dance of ebb and flow. And again, listening to yourself, but also honoring like your own inner seasons, but also the seasons of the earth, because that really does guide us, especially as women, like so heavily. But yeah, there's definitely been, especially this year, I feel like we all know that January 1st isn't the like actual new year. That's like not news to anybody. But um And we just have like last month we had the lunar new year, and then now we're going to have the astrological new year with the spring equinox, I think that's right. But there's so many like new beginnings and there's so much pressure out there, especially January 1st and the beginning of the calendar year to go, go, go and to like you need to do all those things, otherwise you're gonna be behind. And it
Mhm.
just leaves us feeling like you said, like needing that external validation and kind of like clouding us and like clouding our own intuition and judgment on our own path. But yeah, it's definitely important to note that right now, like we haven't even hit the spring equinox. Like you can still continue to slowly, slowly bloom in your own time and like trust your own body and your own process with that.
Yeah, that was amazing. I love that. Yeah, literally, and it's funny that you said, like, we're like, spring is coming soon, it's, like, end of winter. I totally, like, feel that literally when I was, like, so emotional yesterday, I, like, had a session with my therapist, which I hadn't in a while, and I was telling her, like, I feel like, all this emotion that I'm just, like, letting out right now, it feels like a death and rebirth. Like, I feel like I'm saying goodbye to like, if I didn't do, like, a tarot card reading, but I feel like if I did, I'd get the death card because I feel like there's definitely, like, a version of me that is dying, and that's not to sound so negative for people listening to that and hearing that that's immediately negative. I don't see it as negative. I think it's beautiful. It's just like the dead tree. Like, that dead tree is going to blossom into a gorgeous tree, like, once spring comes, you know what I mean? And so or like yeah, and so I feel like right now, like I'm like right now an old version of me is shedding and this new version of me is like starting to shine through. And I'm really noticing that. And I think when people bring like awareness to the seasons and then bringing the idea of the seasons within themselves, how they can also go through seasons within their like body and mind, it's like then you have this awareness of noticing like, okay, you know what? Like maybe I'm kind of like shedding past like an old version of me and kind of coming through to a new version of me like that I am more aligned with now. Cause like things are always changing. Like life is always changing. I don't really think that we will always stay the same exact person unless we actually like choose to. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, we have the choice to kind of be the same person or not. Like right now having this like emotional like purging out this old me, I can choose to still be that old me, or I can choose to allow that to like spring me forward, literally spring me forward to the new version of me. You know, I have that choice. And so when people bring this awareness to the seasons that they have within them, then they can kind of like understand more like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm just like going through this phase right now, and maybe this will help me kind of spring forward to this. Cause yeah, I like kind of lost my train of thought for a second. But
That's okay. Oh, yeah, I love it. I wanna touch on death, but first
yeah,
I want to I
I
wanna
love
give
that
you
sequence so
this.
much. I want to touch on death. but first,
It's my jam. It's my bread and butter. Um, but I want to give you just this visual that has been coming up a lot this week for me. I have a membership that I will do channeled messages for every week, and so this was just a really potent message in it. But during this time of the year, like I want us to think about a seed, like planting a literal seed in the ground and it has a shell, right? But the shell cracks open for it to bloom. And like that's the space that we're in right now where we're being cracked the fuck open and it's uncomfortable. Like it doesn't feel great. There's so much being purged and uprooted in order for us to crack open and then bloom and grow. So I just feel like that's a stage that so many of us are in right now. And we tend to forget like how closely connected we are to nature and the fact that we are like a seed, or even if you think about like a butterfly and caterpillar like going through metamorphosis, like all of that, there's that uncomfortable part and we're in that part right now. It's very sticky. It feels very like stuck and stagnant in a sense, but you still know that you're moving forward. You're like, I know that I'm getting there, but like this is really uncomfortable right now. um and then, yeah, with death, I love that you were giving like saying that it's not bad. That's another thing that our society and like current system has done a really good job of is getting us to fear death. And it is a part of life. It's we are cyclical beings, and like we're dying all the time, like, metaphorically, we're not obviously I mean, people do die, that is also a part of life, like, that is a reality of life, but we are like, old versions of us are constantly, constantly dying, old systems, and again, like, back to just what is happening in the world right now, like, we are witnessing so many systems crumble and die because something new needs to emerge, like, we know that something new needs to come in because we can't keep going the way that we are, and we can like bring that back to our own lives. And like you were saying, we're always transforming and growing unless you choose to stay stuck, and if you do, then like you're probably not listening to this podcast anyways.
LOL, literally.
um, but you have to let aspects of yourself die. You have to let things go. And I was even thinking about it for myself the other day because I'm in a similar place, like very similar space. We all are truly. And I was like, there's so many things that I'm like ready to let go of, but I just can't. Like logically, I'm like, I know that I need to. Like, I really don't want to hang on to this. I don't need this. It's not serving me. But it's hard sometimes. Like we hold on so tightly to things, and so, yeah, I mean, like, knowing that, like, death is okay, it's okay to talk about that. I even talk about it, like, in the menstrual cycle, for example, like, menstruation, that is death. That is your body literally shedding and letting something die and be released physically from your body. And obviously, we see it in nature too, and like you said, the dead tree that you thought was so beautiful dead, it's gonna bloom soon, and it's gonna be beautiful then too. Like, it's always beautiful, and there's so much power in that like death cycle because that's where actual transformation happens. Like we can create all we want, but you cannot have creation without destruction and death. Like you cannot have rebirth without death. So it's important to chat about death and like make it less taboo.
I love that, and make it less scary too, because obviously you hear death and you think like the Reaper, like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
like, it's so, like, scary and, like, timid, but it can be so beautiful and such, like, a nice kind of reference of, like, okay, like, this version of me is dying, this version of me is, like, and if people don't wanna say like, use the word death or dying, you can just say this version of me is now being released. This version of me is now transforming. Like, if you wanted to change the word just because like, someone can't get past death, like, you can just say, like, "I'm just transforming. I'm just becoming." Becoming is a great word. I love to use the word embody. I'm just embodying this new version. I'm embodying this reality that I want to live in. I'm embodying the version of me that's in this reality that I desire. I'm embodying her and releasing the old version of me. I love using those kind of references. And I also, so speaking, this is on my mind as well right now, speaking about like letting ourselves release, letting ourselves to kind of like rest and take our foot off the gas and things like that. I want to talk about like setting boundaries too, because when we're in this and like a little bit of the dark feminine, I would love to talk about. And